Hi, everyone. Melody from Learning in Progress here, and I want to share with you the recording from this month's live webinar. So, this recorded presentation is going to cover how to build classroom community in any academic model. Now, I know this year has been challenging for teachers and students alike, but these games and Nearpod activities are a great way to simply have fun with your students. I'm going to be walking you through some ideas for both primary and upper grade that can be used no matter if you're teaching 100% virtually, hybrid, or if you're back in the classroom. Stay tuned and let's dive into these games that your students are sure to love. So here we are in Nearpod, and the reason that I use Nearpod for the actual webinar itself is because I want participants and viewers to be able to see what students are going to experience in these games. Now, throughout this recorded presentation, I'm going to be sharing with you my teacher screen and then also sharing what it will look like from the student's point of view. So, the topics that we are going to be exploring today are how to use Nearpod for holiday virtual parties, for morning meetings, and then, of course, I'm going to share with you some fun Friday games. So, a little bit about me. If you haven't met me, my name is Melody. I own Learning in Progress. We have both a TPT store and then also a website. I am a K-6 teacher, and you name it, I've probably taught it. I've done intervention, both reading and math. I've taught primary grades and upper grade alike. I am currently teaching grade 6. I am in a hybrid model, and I am also fortunate enough to be both our intervention specialist and ed tech mentor. So I've done a little bit of everything, and I am so excited to share some ideas that I've collected over the years. In addition to my roles within my district, I am also somewhat of a differentiated enthusiast, I like to call myself. I absolutely love differentiated instruction, and I've been fortunate enough to present at both local and national conferences. All right, so first I'm going to be sharing some ideas on how you can celebrate virtually with your students. Now, the first half of this presentation, it's going to be focused mostly on primary grades and our younger students. But full disclosure, I use these activities for my sixth graders and they love them. So don't feel like you can't use these ideas if you teach a little bit older students. The reason I'm focusing on our young ones is because these activities do not require that your students are reading. So I've played these games with as young as preschool students. Let's go ahead and dive into some activities that your younger students are absolutely going to love. This first part that I want to share are some coloring contests. So in October, I did, or I shared this with some teachers at my school, and we did virtual pumpkin carving. Let me go ahead and show you what it looks like from both the teacher's perspective and then also from the student's perspective. So here I am in my student screen, and you can see this beautiful blank pumpkin. What a great blank canvas. So all they would need to do is go down to the bottom. They can choose their color, choose the size of the marker, and go ahead and have at it. Now you can even, if you so choose, as I'm drawing my pumpkin here, you can even give your students a challenge. So let's draw the scariest pumpkin we can, or let's draw a princess pumpkin. Let's draw a happy, cheerful pumpkin, a clown pumpkin. I mean, you can change this up as much as you and your kids' heart's desire. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click submit. And that will send it to my teacher screen. So we're going to jump back to our teacher screen so that you can see what it looks like. Here we are on my teacher screen, and you can see all these pumpkins are coming in. And of course, I went ahead and I blocked out the names because these were participants in my webinar today. I went ahead and blocked out those names for privacy reasons. But what's great about this is there's some engagement. There's a way to analyze the engagement level of your students. So you can see who still needs more time. You can see if someone needs some assistance. And then, best of all, you can share out and do student celebrations. So maybe you want to choose 2 or 3 different examples to share out with everybody. You would simply pick a pumpkin and click share, and that is going to pop up on all of your students' screens, regardless of if they're in the same room as you. Students love this. This is the virtual equivalent of a kid coming up to the front of the class and telling their classmates about their beautiful artwork. They absolutely love when their art is shared. Some other examples of how you can use this same activity for different seasons. So we used this for Thanksgiving, and the students were tasked with decorating a dining room for a festive feast. So you can see here that there is a table of some food, and all the students had to do, they put banners, they added chairs, some even drew their family around the table. Very sweet way to celebrate Thanksgiving. And then, of course, who doesn't love a good old-fashioned tree trimming? So we went ahead, shared a blank tree, and the students were able to decorate it. Now, I do want to point out, if you are using this for older kids, because truthfully, I used it with my 6th graders and they loved it. But we did a Holidays Around the World unit. I actually have a whole unit if you're looking for one. It's got worksheet bundles, it's got digital escape rooms, the works. Anyways, I used it with my students, and we learned about various winter holidays all around the globe. After we did that unit, they were tasked with decorating trees for the countries that celebrated Christmas, because we learned about several holidays. But for the ones that celebrated Christmas, they were tasked with decorating different trees and then identifying what country that tree represented. So this is something that you can absolutely change to meet the needs of your students by adding challenges or just unique requirements to the decorations. You can really change up this activity and make it fun and engaging for all age levels. Now I'm going to dive into some morning meeting activities. And I got to be honest, this is probably the best seller in my store. And I personally think it's because you can use this every day and use it for all ages. I use my morning meeting for my 6th graders, and it's the same morning meeting that I used, honestly, for my first graders last year. Same activities, same discussion prompts, and it's great. So I'm going to go through some examples of games that we play in our morning meetings as a way to build classroom community. And one of them is Time to Climb. Now, if you have used Nearpod before, you know how engaging that race up the mountain is. Kids love it. Kids of all ages love it. My students do. My kindergartners did last year. They think it's great. Now, what I've done is rather than use it as an exit ticket for these morning meetings, I used it to create some questions about our peers in our classroom. So at the beginning of the year, my students had done a Flipgrid activity, kind of an all about me video. What I do then throughout the year is I pull from those questions, I pull from those videos, I should say, and I create questions about the students in my classroom. Which student has a birthday in February? Which student loves pizza? Whose favorite book is The Giver? Whatever it happens to be. And whoever knows their classmates the best get more points, and they end up winning the game. This is something that is very quick, very little prep on the teacher side. It's something your students will really enjoy. I also have created a How Well Do You Know Your Teacher Time to Climb? So I'll put questions about me. What's my favorite food? What's my favorite kid book? What subject do I enjoy the most? Whatever it is that you've shared with your students, they really like to see who knows the teacher best. Student Guess Who is by far our favorite morning meeting game. I played this for sure with my younger students last year when schools closed, but I absolutely play this with my sixth graders. So we're going to look at some examples on the next slide, but I just want to give you a little information on how this game works. So students will draw a beautiful self-portrait of themselves, and then they'll draw two clues. Now, when you get the morning meeting resource from my store, there's actually a few slides. So one slide might be, favorite food and favorite animal. Another slide might be favorite place to visit. There's a few different options. Let's go ahead and dive into a sample so that you can see what the students would experience. So here we are on my student screen, and you can see that this slide is asking me to draw a self-portrait, as well as what my favorite food is and favorite animal is. So let's go ahead and just draw a quick self-portrait. Draw me with some beautiful curly hair. Oh my goodness. You get to see my artistic skills. And this is also why, honestly, older kids like it. They kind of like poking fun a little bit. But quite honestly, you'd be surprised at um, how able your students are to draw. Trust me, my students do a lot better than I just did. So you're going to go ahead, have your students draw, and then they are going to submit their work, just like they did last time. And here's what you are looking at from your teacher side. And you can see I didn't click submit, so it says that I'm still in progress, but you can see some of these other lovely artwork. And again, you would choose one, share it out, and then have your students either in person or on Zoom, have them raise their hand if they want to take a guess at who that is. So much fun. And who doesn't love I'm thinking of an animal? So all kids have to do is draw a picture of an animal, and then other students will guess. Now, if you have young students that are not quite able to write their clues, no worries. Have them draw the picture, submit the picture, and then you would call on a student to turn on his or her microphone to verbally give those clues. The other students would then take turns guessing. Artist Helper. This is so much fun. And honestly, this is one of my favorite games because I love to see the creativity of my students, both young and old. All I do is I give them a simple line or shape and I tell them, create something. So they create whatever they can using that image. And I end up seeing the most beautiful artwork. For example, last week, actually, our last morning meeting with my kids, they got a circle shape and I got snowmen, bicycles, baseballs, the globe. It was really cool to see what they came up with. So let me go ahead and show you an example, a different example. And you can see here that it was just a simple squiggly line. And we got a sunset. We have an island, a car driving, hills, trees. What I usually like to do with my kids is I see which one is the most popular. And the reason I like doing that is to show them that even though we're all creating our own unique images, there are some commonalities that we have when we didn't plan on drawing the same image. It kind of just happened. So, kind of a fun way. My kids are always blown away by how many people draw the same type of images. All right, upper grade teachers, middle school teachers, and yes, even high school teachers. I have not forgotten about you. These Fun Friday games are so fun. Your kids are sure to love them. So this is a brand new resource in my store. It's also included in this month's webinar bundle. But this resource includes 5 different games. The meme game, design it, majority rules, what if, and how well do you know? Let's go ahead and go through each one of these games. And then I'll show you at the end where you can find these in my TPT store. The meme game. This my students love, and honestly, even teenagers and adults alike would have fun with this game. So you can play in a couple different ways. One, you can either give them a picture and tell them to write a text to complete the meme, or you give them a text and they have to choose a picture to complete the meme. Now, for the purposes of this resource, the 10 slides that are included in the meme game actually give them the text and then they choose the picture. But feel free to go the opposite way if you choose to with your students. So I do want to pause for a minute and kind of show you this pop-up. This is so important. When you do a collaboration board, which is what this game is, it's a Nearpod collaboration board. When you do this board, it's going to pop up and ask if you want to approve student responses. Yes, yes, and yes. I highly, highly recommend it. Because what this does is it allows the teacher to go ahead and approve any response before the other students can see it. That way you can check to make sure that all responses are completed, of course, but most importantly, that they are school appropriate. And you can see here some examples of some participants from today. They went ahead and added to the board. So, how I look on Monday mornings. Complete the meme by choosing a picture. And I want to point out here that there is an approval notice. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then you can see, ooh, this person must really like Mondays. That's great. But you can see that there's a pending post here, and I can either disapprove, or in this case, I'm going to go ahead and approve. And it pops up onto our board. Design it. Now, for the purposes of this webinar, I didn't actually include a sample, but I just want to go over the directions for this activity. For me, I am a huge fan of project-based learning and STEAM activities. That design process, getting the creative juices flowing, so important in a classroom setting. Now, for this game, the idea behind the game is that as a class, we are designers. And there are customers that are coming to us with very specific requests. For instance, there might be someone who works on an animation team, and they're coming because they need a new character for their next animated feature. And we have to design a brand new character. Or in another slide, because again, for each of these games, there are 10 examples in that resource. So another slide might be a fashion designer who's looking for a new fall line of clothes. And they need us to design a sample of, for instance, if you're working with teenagers, maybe they need a design of fall-inspired clothes that are meant for teens. Or maybe they need some designs for winter formal outfits. Whatever it is that you happen to choose, this allows older kids to really put their creative skills to the test. And then as a teacher, we can share out those designs. It's really fun for older kids. This game is called Majority Rules. And so really the object of this game is to guess what the majority of the class will choose. Not necessarily what each individual will choose, but what the majority will choose. Do you think the majority of the class prefers hot dogs or hamburgers? Do they prefer summer or winter, mountains or beach, texting or phone calls? Whatever it happens to be, the class is going to decide what they think the majority will choose, and then you'll see what the majority actually did choose. What if? This game is hilarious. Your kids are going to love it. So, a student is chosen by a digital spinner, and I'll go ahead and show that to you in just a moment. But a student is chosen to be the topic of a question. For instance, it might be, what if Johnny were a car? Which car would he be? An ice cream truck? A sports car? A pickup truck? Whatever you can think of, a family sedan. And then everyone has to choose which they think that student would be. So maybe that student is an athlete. The majority of kids might choose that sports car. Once that happens, you would share the poll results and then ask Johnny, what did you choose? Did the class get it right? It's a great how well do we know each other game. Honestly, I have played this game with adults. It's so much fun. In the resource, you get 10 questions, but you absolutely can copy and paste and edit more questions. Now, what I want to show you is a website that's called Wheel of Names. So cool. It's free. Great way to make digital spinners. Let me go ahead and show that to you. All right, so here I am at wheelofnames.com. And again, this is completely free. And you can edit any of these spinners. You can change the color. You can change the image. So like this, in this case, it's one of our images from our new line of clip art. It's a little polar bear, one of our favorites. But you can absolutely customize any part of the spin. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to type in instance student names. And you can add as many as you want. Now, I'm not going to dive too much into the customization features. If you're interested, I actually did post a quick video. I call them teacher tidbits on my YouTube channel, Learning NP. So feel free to check that out if you're interested. But I do want to show you at least one spin.
Student 2.
So now, of course, it wouldn't say student 2. You would actually have your student names on it. Now, I do want to point out that I do have pre-made digital spinners available in my store for just a couple bucks each, and you get like 15 spinners, I think. But you can absolutely create your own by just going to Wheel of Names. But again, if you want to save time, I do have quite a few included in my store. How well do you know is our last game. And the point of this game is to see how well we know each other. How well do you know your classmates? Again, what I would do is spin that digital spinner. Maybe Susie comes up this time. If Susie had to choose a gift, which would she choose? Books, cooking supplies, a new cell phone, a brand new laptop, video games, whatever options you want to include. And then everyone votes, and we see if what the majority chose for Susie matches Susie's answer. It's a lot of fun. All right, so I do want to share with you, here are the webinar bundles. So if you're looking again to save time, because trust me, I get it. Teachers don't have time to do anything outside of their already million tasks that they have. So if you're looking for something that will save you time and you can implement with your next Fun Friday or your next virtual celebration, go ahead and check out these bundles. I have a bundle with primary grades, and that includes all of those holiday resources that we went over at the beginning of the year. So you'll see there's a resource for Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas. There's actually one for Hanukkah and Kwanzaa, Valentine's Day, Easter, and the 4th of July are coming soon. So it is a growing bundle. It also includes our digital morning meeting with all those great morning meeting games we went over. And then it includes those holiday spinners. So there's some winter themed spinners and then Halloween themed spinners. Now, please keep in mind that included in those are also some evergreen, if you will. So some spinners that are meant for year round. And again, all of them are editable. So feel free to edit to your heart's content. I also have an upper grade bundle that includes all of those Fun Friday games we were just playing. There are 10 slides per game. So this is a nice resource that will last you the entire year. It also includes 2 edible digital spinners that's within that Fun Friday resource so that you can put your students' names in and then use them for those activities and games. This bundle includes the morning meeting. Again, I use it every day with my 6th graders. And then it actually also includes another resource that I haven't gone over yet, but it's virtual classroom jobs. And this is a brand new resource to Learning in Progress. It includes a sample, it's a PDF already filled out, includes classroom jobs, descriptions of those jobs, and then also the student qualifications that are needed. In addition, it has an editable version if you want to create your own classroom jobs. There's also a Google Form job application. Again, it's editable, but if you want to use it as is, you can send it to your students. It's already ready for you. And then there's a newspaper template. Now, if you're going to do one thing, especially if you teach upper grade, middle school, high school, if you're going to add one thing to your daily routine, I recommend having a newspaper team. So when my students apply for their jobs every month, by far the most popular team is the newspaper team. It is completely student run. There's journalists, cartoonists, our newspaper team leader, the editor in chief, and they use this template every month to create a newspaper that we post to our classroom website. Again, all of these are available in my TPT store. I'm going to go ahead in a moment and show you that store on where you can find both these resources as well as some other resources that your students will enjoy. All right, so here we are in my Learning in Progress TPT store. And first of all, if you haven't done so already, I highly encourage you to go ahead and click this green star, follow me. That way you get updates on when I post my next freebie, when I have new products. We have a brand new line of clip art, so that's very exciting. And you'll get those notifications and notes from me if you go ahead and follow my store. Now let's scroll down here and you'll see, first of all, I always include some seasonal items or new products under my featured items. But what I really want to point out, I want to point out 3 things, okay? 1, I want to point out our new clip art. So exciting. We actually have a graphic artist who has joined our team, and he's creating just the cutest little clip art you've ever seen. So I'm going to go ahead and just show you some of the products that we have, just to show some of his work. Got some Valentine's Day items. These dinosaurs are a huge hit, but he really focuses on some character. He's a character developer. So keep your eyes open. We've got some St. Patrick's stuff coming up. We've got some springtime clip art. You're really going to love it. Next, I want to point out, because we're talking about classroom community, having fun, so fun stuff in progress. And you can see here that this includes a ton of activities, games. Most of them are digital, so you can use them in any model. But I do encourage you to go ahead and browse through for some activities for your students. And last but not least, all the way down at the bottom, webinars in progress. So this is where you're going to find all of the resources, not just for this webinar, but for my past webinars. Again, those recordings are posted at learninginprogress.com. And then you can find all of those resources here where it says webinars in progress. If you haven't done so already, make sure you join our community at learninginprogress.com. Every month, I send everyone on my email list. I send them some pre-dated newsletters, occasionally some seasonal freebies, and we've even started to give away some clip art. So make sure that you join that if you haven't done so already. Thank you so much for joining me today. Again, my name is Melody. I am so thrilled to have you watch this recording, and honestly, you're inspiring to me. Your students are so lucky to have you. Thank you so much for being here, and please feel free to reach out if you have any questions. I hope to see you at my next webinar. The date will be posted shortly. Have a wonderful rest of your school year, and I will see you soon. Bye, everyone.